Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Billy, a little too much ears there. Welcome into, what is today? Today is Wednesday. I'm hearing a lot of goofy stuff in my ears. Anyway, whatever the case, we welcome all of you into the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. And we're off to a little bit of a rocky start.
Okay, I think I figured it out.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sounded like we had a microphone in the hockey rink.
Yeah, I think we're good now, though.
Okay.
Should be good.
So, not the best start, but you know what? It's a good show, and hope you'll stick around for it. Let's go to Murfreesboro first and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good, George. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
I'm sure Clay is upset that I'm not in Bellevue. He'll tell me later, I'm sure.
Oh, I think Clay can adjust. He's a loyal listener. He's got good taste.
He is that.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, what's going on in the world of sports?
I don't know. What are we? What is going on in the world of sports now? We got to get the draft. How far is the draft away? I'm so lost. Is it 2 weeks?
What are we, 2 weeks from Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Masters, baby. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
They got the par 3 today.
Yeah. So I saw last night one of the craziest hockey games in the history of crazy hockey.
Well, you went to the game?
I did.
How about that?
Preds trailed 6-4 with 4 minutes left in regulation. However, here's where they had a little bit of an advantage. The Islanders had 2 people in the penalty box. The Preds had 1. And then the Preds decided to lift the goaltender, creating a 2-man advantage. They cut it to 6-5. Then the same stuff plays out. And before you know it, it's 6-6. You go to overtime, the 3-on-3 overtime. While it's a gimmick and you'll never see it in the playoffs, it's really fun and it's really cool.
Really?
Yes.
3-on-3.
3-on-3. A lot of, in basketball, those would be illegal picks, moving screens. But what they're trying to do in 3-on-3 is create kind of a pick play where a defender gets lost and all of a sudden you got a 3-on-2 advantage and boom, it's over.
There we go. 3-on-3, baby.
It was a good win. It means absolutely nothing.
Draft
Under
status.
the category of, by the way, whoever put out there a couple of weeks ago, they're mathematically eliminated. Duh. Really? You needed to print that?
They've been that way for a while, have they not?
Let me say it again. Duh. They haven't been in contention since Thanksgiving. Anyway, that was a little bit of a rant. Yeah. Billy, I trust that you had an update with some semblance of,
Some is a good word.
Some.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see if you go where you should go.
It's brought to you by Lori Brunette Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. Unfortunate news for Lipscomb people. Fortunate news for Samford. After leading Lipscomb to the NCAA tournament, Lennie Acuff resigned today and was named Samford's head coach after Bucky McMillan's departure.
Okay, so let's break this down for a minute. First of all, Lennie Acuff could have never known until late last week that such might be a possibility. Bucky McMillan ends up at A&M. That surprised a lot of people. Martin Newton is the athletic director at Samford. He is a former plaster color analyst. And he, of course, is the late, great C.M. Newton's son. And as I texted him earlier today, you have hit a home run, one of the finest human beings and a really good coach. And while I'm sorry for Lipscomb, I'm thrilled for Lennie Acuff.
I agree. Can't have a better guy. Understands basketball, understands the offensive side of the game, and hey, took Lipscomb to their only second time in the NCAA tournament, so that was pretty big. And I think he's talking to Mike Organ. He's going back home. He's from there, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, from Huntsville, and he'd been at Lipscomb since 2019, and did a phenomenal job, as we know. But it's interesting to see where Lipscomb might go. I'm sure we'll get into that with Mike, but that's a home run hire for Samford.
Here's my text to Lennie at 10:15 this morning. Thrilled for you. I am a huge Martin Newton fan. Go Braves.
Surprised
always a go Braves in there.
Well, no, Lennie is a huge Braves fan.
I know. I'm surprised you threw that in there at this point in the season.
Billy.
You don't even want to talk about the Braves.
Just
it's early,
because
Billy.
things are not going well doesn't mean that we don't support.
But we don't want to talk about them.
Well, no, not when they're 1-8. What is there to say? They suck.
It's early.
It's early. It's very early. It's April. Now, if it gets to June, if it gets to June, which in Spanish, I guess, is June or whatever, we get to that point and it looks like this. The white flag.
Yeah. So Lennie Acuff headed to Samford, and we'll see what happens at Lipscomb. We'll talk about the potential candidates with Mike Organ.
One of those might be Kevin Carroll at Trevecca.
Wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Also in college basketball, the field for this year's Battle for Atlantis is set. I'm bringing this up because Vandy is in it. You've also got Virginia Tech, St. Mary's, so you could have a Vandy-St. Mary's rematch in Battle for Atlantis. South Florida, VCU, Colorado State, Western Kentucky, and Wichita State will headline this year's Battle for Atlantis. Ohio State was supposed to be in it, but they're no longer expected to be a part of the event. And
they're still playing football at that point.
Yeah. By the way, the Maui Invitational is no longer the legit, they used to have the best teams in the country in the Maui Invitational. Apparently that is transitioning to this tournament in Vegas. I think they're calling it the
Blackjack Central.
No, I can't remember what they're calling it. It's like the players tournament.
Nice, the Blackjack Shootout.
Yeah,
the
players era. That's
what does that mean?
The Players Era Championship is what they're calling it. That's going to be the premier college basketball preseason tournament.
Blackjack Central. To all the players who are in it next year, here's a piece of advice. Hit on 16.
I'm sure the NCAA would be fine with that.
No, to hell with them.
There's no rules anymore. They don't care.
No, I mean, good Lord. that toothpaste got out of the thing like about 2 years ago.
And they ain't going back in.
No, it isn't.
In college football, Tennessee will play Georgia Tech in 2026 and 2027 after Nebraska backed out of its series with the Vols. The first game of the series will be in 2026 in Atlanta. They haven't decided on a location yet. It'll either be at Bobby Dodd Stadium or Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Bobby Dodd holds about 52,000. Mercedes-Benz holds about 71,000.
Was Nebraska under contract? Was Nebraska under contract to do that? How do you get out of that? Do you have to pay?
They paid a lot.
You payola.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to say. You got to pay something. You can't just back out.
So this may well depend on what Georgia Tech's athletic department needs are monetarily, because most of those seats, if they go to the new dome, are Tennessee fans. Probably doesn't help, as far as winning the game. But when you're charging $50 to $100 a ticket, it's a pretty good little chunk of change. So this just in. Let me make the announcement. It'll probably be in the Dome.
Yeah. The first meeting, or the last meeting between these two was 2017, the season opener in Atlanta. And I want to say that was the Georgia Dome at the time. When was Mercedes? It might have been was that the first game at Mercedes-Benz?
I don't remember.
I think I remember it being the first college game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
That was the night that Tennessee unveiled the turnover jobby.
No, it was the trash can. The turnover,
That's right.
The turnover trash can.
Yeah.
That was Butch Jones.
Yes, which is one of the dumbest traditions in history.
One of the many things Butch Jones be remembered for.
Psycho Butch.
All right, we're going
brick by brick.
Champions.
Absolutely.
Champions of life.
Yes.
Gosh.
Carry on.
A somber note. Hall of Fame pitcher Pedro Martinez recently said on social media that several of his family members were inside the nightclub that collapsed in the Dominican Republic yesterday. He said he still has family members that are in the rubbles and they don't know what happened to them.
This story is getting worse and worse. And, a former really good big league pitcher, Octavio Dotel, one of the players, one of the people who passed away in this thing. It's just a awful tragedy.
At least 124 people have been killed with hundreds more injured from the collapse. So,
well,
prayers for everybody involved in that. That's pretty much what I got. I mean, I went scouring just for those few pieces there. So,
wow.
Really?
So,
do you need us to talk more? You need to give us a thumbs up sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we need some filler, Kelly.
It was sort of, I mean, let's be honest. It was a C- update.
Oh, I'll be interested to see what other items you come up with.
Well,
C-.
I'm scouring right now.
I'm giving that a D-.
Are you really? So, in other words,
what are we doing?
If Lennie had not led the thing, the Astros, by the way, trade reliever Rafael Montero to Los Bravos.
Boy, that's
a
riveting.
biggie.
Is that going to move the needle, George?
Not really.
That doesn't move the
needle. But beating the Phillies last night did.
But you don't want to talk about that.
No, I do want to talk about that. I do. Let's see here. Not a whole lot.
No. We do have a statement from Lipscomb AD Philip Hutchison. While we are certainly disappointed to see Coach Acuff go, we understand the opportunity that has been presented to be close to his parents and his in-laws, as well as being in the same town as his adult children. We appreciate Lennie and his work here and wish him all the best with his move.
Yeah. Look, the beauty of this is for Lennie, it's a total win-win. For Samford, it's a win-win. Philip Hutchison will do a really good job in coming up with whoever he comes up with, because not many of us knew about Lennie Acuff. He pulled that rabbit out of the hat a few years ago, and that was a pretty darn good hire.
Yeah, he sure did, man. He is he'll make it work. I just thought, him being an older guy in the NIL days and coaching for a long time like he did at UAH, I thought he might give that up. But hey, he's going to get to go back to where he's from, being closer to family, and
yeah,
can't blame him.
No, I am thrilled for him. I really am. He is a good human being. I wondered when they won the conference title if that would be him retiring, but it wasn't. And he's going to do great down there. Have no doubt about it. To say that I have enjoyed getting to know him is such an understatement. Wow.
And Lipscomb's still a really good job.
Yeah, they'll find somebody good.
I mean, you go from Casey Alexander to Lennie Acuff. That's also pretty appealing, for someone to maybe. Obviously, it's a step up. It would have to be a step up for the next coach they hire.
And with the success that Phillip has had in that sport and everything that he's done in that sport, and just like George, you just said, had Casey Alexander, and then they bring in Lennie Acuff. He found a good girls coach in Lauren Sumsky, who has taken that program to a new level itself. And you look at all the athletic programs. I mean, they're winning championships. They've got a really good baseball program. They're down a little bit, but still, he does a good job of figuring out and understanding what it takes, and especially in his sport.
You want me to throw one off the beaten path?
Phyllis.
Okay. If Florida could take a chance on Billy Donovan at age 30, Lipscomb could think about Taylor Barnett.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Is that do you think Taylor wants to do that? I mean, does he want to be a head coach?
I don't know that, and I don't know whether he'd be thrilled with my saying that or not. But clearly, he came out of the coaching world with Chris Mack at
Louisville.
And why not? I'm just gonna, pluck things out of what. Why not that one? If Florida can take a chance on Billy Donovan at 30, it would seem to me that Lipscomb could take a chance on somebody young, upcoming as well. Just throwing it out there.
That's a good point. That's a good throw out there. I like it.
Okay.
Because he's knowledgeable about the game. He understands it.
I wonder how thrilled he'll be when he finds out I've said this. After the break, the hardest working man in Nashville sports will join us. That is Mike Organ from the Tennessean. He is next on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
The hardest working man in Nashville sports. He is Mike Organ from the Tennessean, and he joins us for his weekly Wednesday visit. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good, but it was, and I'm working hard, but it was good to take a lunch break and enjoy a lunch with George Plaster and Kelly Holcomb.
National Football Foundation. That's good stuff. And yeah, we enjoyed it as well. Mike, I know you agree with us in wishing Lennie Acuff the very best. We're thrilled for him.
Gosh, George, we've been so fortunate around here to have such really good guys as basketball coaches. You know what I mean? I mean, Rick Byrd over at Belmont and then Lennie Acuff, I mean, they're cut from the same cloth, just good people. And, you know, the first time you meet Lennie, it's like you've known him your whole life, and he treats you so special, just a good guy, a wonderful family, and you always want the best for Lennie. And it is so good, you know, after all those years at a lower division to see him experience success at the top level and then to become a coveted coach and get to go back to his home state and take over a program that's is rocking right now. I believe over the last 3 years they've been to the NCAA twice and the NIT once. So, you know, he's not moving to an SEC program or an ACC program, but he's moving to a program that's on good. It has a good foundation.
So, Mike, in the rumor mill of names you put out there, I brought up that Kevin Carroll at Trevecca has got to be one that's high up on the list. But I also threw out one that's me being, hey, if Florida could take a chance on Billy Donovan, why not Taylor Barnett, who has coaching experience at the University of Louisville? But I guess what I'm really getting at is it seems like this could be kind of a reset for Philip Hutchison in Lipscomb athletics as to where their most important sport is going.
Yeah, you mentioned Taylor Barnett, a great guy, good coach. You know, Drew Maddox is out of coaching now, but Drew Maddox proved himself on the high school level, and Drew was actually in the mix when Philip hired Lennie. I talked to Philip about it, and he told me that he talked to Drew, and, you know, he gave him some time. So you got those two guys. And then you look at the staffs that are there now, and when you look at the Belmont staff, you've got a couple of guys over there that you have to consider. Brian Ayers has been at both places. He was at Lipscomb for a long time with Casey, and you feel like Brian, you know, I know he's from Clarksville. He's been mentioned for the Austin Peay job a couple of times. So you got to consider Brian, and there's Sam Retigliano, who's also Sean Retigliano. Sam Retigliano was a football coach of the Cleveland Browns. Sean Retigliano, who is at Belmont, and also was with Casey at Lipscomb. And, you know, I haven't delved into it as much as I want to, but I've got to look at the Vanderbilt staffs and the UT staffs, because I can guarantee you that if there's anybody that's looking to move, and most assistants always are, then there's probably some worthy guys there of two programs that are in really good shape right now.
I'm guessing that Philip has had some clue over the last 48 hours that this could happen. And so there are probably some names in his pocket. I guess transfer portal, NIL, all that kind of stuff plays a factor in how much time do you have before you got to strike.
Yeah, we used to say that about high school recruiting. Well, they got to get somebody in there, signing days coming up and all that. That was nothing compared to what these guys are up against with the transfer portal once it opens. And even before it opens, because guys are declaring, and so you've got to get on board and you got to see who's out there. The pressure that they were under to hire somebody before the high school signing dates came or recruiting periods started is nothing compared to what it is in this day and age. With this transfer portal, Lipscomb in particular lost its best player, which we knew they were going to. And matter of fact, Lennie encouraged Jacob Oksanovic to move on because he knew that was what was best for him. And he'll be at a high major next year. And so they've got some rebuilding to do. Will Pruitt is gone, along with the kid that transferred from Furman. So this team needs to be rebuilt. I know Lennie didn't mean to leave the cupboard bare because this Samford deal came up all at once, but there's some work to be done there. And I'm sure Hutch, like all good ADs, had a list in his pocket anyway. And he's going to, I'm sure he's into it very deep at this point.
So, Mike, it's really interesting. You and I grew up in an era. I can remember when Doug Dickey left Tennessee to become the football coach at Florida in the early 70s. I don't remember the exact year, but all hell broke loose because there was this unwritten rule that you don't go from inside the conference to inside the conference. And now fast forward 50 some odd years, a kid from Auburn ends up at Alabama or vice versa. Jalen Carey beats Tennessee in January with a great performance at Memorial Gym. And 2.5 months later, he's saying, I'm all about orange. We're living in a different world.
It's the wild, wild west. It's a played cliche, but I can't think of a better definition than what's going on right now. I mean, when you can do that last example is the best example of what's going on now. At football games these days, as we used to worry about the booster coming out and shaking hands with the star player and slipping them a 50 or 100 or whatever. Now we worry about the opposing coach coming out and shaking hands with one of the players and saying, hey, we need a wide receiver. And, we got a pretty nice deal for you. And then 2 weeks later, he's on that team. I mean, it's like backyard football almost, I mean, there are no rules. The rules are it's just, it's wide open. And so, at Tennessee State in football, they've had a coaching change. They only have one quarterback on the roster right now. Well, before the season starts, they'll have about 4, and they'll have a healthy battle going on for the starter because they'll bring in guys from that are coming down from FBS or just looking to move to get a better situation. So it's just constantly changing.
Kelly, chime in on this one as well. I wonder when the day happens where a coach who got rated privately says to the other coach, okay, screw you, game on. I'm taking every last player you've got. Or in a case of a Tennessee Vandy, Mark Byington says to Zakai Ziegler, here's $2.5 million. Tell Rick Barnes if he ever touches one of my players again, this is what'll happen. That's going to happen someday, and it's true.
Absolutely, it's going to happen, and it's the only way that there's going to be any regulation whatsoever, because there aren't going to be any tampering rules or anything put in place like that without a collective bargaining agreement and everybody playing by the same rules.
Think about that, Kelly. If you had unlimited money.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
It takes money.
Oh, sure it does. But if you had unlimited resources and you could send that message to another coach who has rated you, don't you ever tamper. Don't you ever get anywhere near one of my players. I will dismantle your roster. It's going to happen someday.
Yeah, that's the first thing that's coming out of my mouth. Now, I've got to make sure that I'm at one of these elite teams that's got all this money, because if you don't, and you don't have that much money and you talk trash, then you're not going to get anybody. So, I think it's going to happen. And, Wally was talking, we talked about the NFF, our National Football Foundation lunch today, but he was talking about giving scholarships and what I got to do. And I wanted to say, there's no rules in college anymore, Wally. Just send it over, man. Who cares? You know what I'm saying?
I thought the same exact thing, Kelly, when he was talking about that some kids are returning their scholarships because the NCAA is saying, if you get a full ride, you can't go over and above. Who says you can't go over and above NCAA? It's not your deal anymore. I thought the same exact thing. And Kelly makes a good point. If you can come up with that money, well, one of the things we talk about a lot is sustainability. Is Ohio State going to be able to come up with the same amount of money to buy the kind of team they put on the field this year to win national championships? Well, this is one way, the way George laid it out, where you can sustain, because you can get the boosters all fired up to go out and screw the other coach. You go to the boosters and say, look, I want to stick it to Rick Barnes, my player. Yeah. And they're like, where's my billfold? I'll help you out with this one. Now, I don't know if they'll continue to do it, but they'll do it. This is the thing you're going to have to do, is come up with individual situations like this to sell to your money people. And they'll fess up when they see it. And we got it. We got them back. And I was a part of it.
Kelly, you mark my words, sometime in the next couple of years, some school, there's going to be some deal where this gets out, where the second coach says, you're damn right I rated his team. That'll teach him to screw with me. And by the way, screw with me is not the adjective I'm thinking of, but I can't use it.
No, you can't use it. But I'll say this: with me being as emotional as I am and being a coach, I don't think I could deal with that, George. I believe I would have to call somebody out, and I may punch him in his mouth when he walks by me. I'm just going to be honest, man. Like I took a kid from high school, and I've raised him, and I've brought him up the right way, and now he's playing really well. And then you come and you rate him after all the work that I've done. Yeah, I'm going to try to raid your people with money, but I'm going to punch you in the mouth when I see you out too.
So Billy, what he's doing basically is threatening the Billy Derrick treatment.
How would Bobby Knight have handled having his team rated? Do you think? You think you talk about hitting somebody in the mouth or throwing a chair at them? I think we know how that would end.
Tony Basilio yesterday mentioned how Rick Barnes had, he's fuming right now. I mean, he's having more fun in the offseason than he is in the season, because he's motivated to get to the Final Four and win a national title. But, if these competitive coaches, like you guys are talking about, they're going to go shot for shot, with these portal kids, and there's no telling it's probably just as competitive in the offseason as it is during the season.
Guys, here's where it will boil over. Mike, you remember, you heard this. You know how they have the spring meetings and everybody's in shorts and they're having their pina colada down. They never have these in New Jersey, these conference meetings.
They're always in Destin, Florida. Yeah,
absolutely. They're going to do that at one of these meetings, and some coach is going to haul off and slug the other guy. He's going to pull a Kelly Holcomb, and that's, I'm telling you, it's coming.
And then once another coach sees it going on, he's going to jump in because he's got an iron in that fire. And, it's going to be a brawl.
Hey,
Go
so
ahead,
so
Kelly.
Mike, let me ask you this: with all this stuff that's going on, and we talk about it, I talk about it all the time with the NIL stuff, and they got to figure this stuff out. But we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and I'm going to bring up what Tony Basilio talked because he was talking about. Billy just brought up, Rick Barnes going out, he's having fun doing this, but they're talking about having $8 million in NIL money to give players at UT. So he's trying to get himself in a competitive edge. And then when they put a cap on this, I mean, we're hearing 20.5 million. Is that what we heard, Billy?
Yeah.
20.5 million in the cap for all sports. We talk about animosity on the football field or animosity on a baseball field because of kids, that he don't know what the other guy's getting, but then they start talking and they're like, well, why is he getting more than me? Well, now you're going to have a deal where they got this salary cap going on, and then Rick Barnes wants his money, Josh Heupel wants his money, Tony Vitello wants his money. How are they going to get through this stuff, Mike?
You're exactly right. They're doing these things in general, like you said, but then they don't come with any specifics. You don't come, and you can't because you can't. How much money the baseball program makes at Tennessee as opposed to costing a program at a smaller school it should be how it's done, but you can't do that because it can't be done across the board. So like you said, it's just got to be a cap and just throw that money out there and let them just all fight for it. Kind of like we did back in the day playing football, pick up and smear and just see who comes up with the most money, I guess. I mean, these coaches that get along so well together and show up for each other's sports, we may not be seeing that in the future so much.
Yeah. So with all this stuff, yesterday we were kind of talking about some of the NCAA things that are going on, but you're hearing like they're going to give eligibility. Are you hearing they're going to give more eligibility to people like Billy brought up Zakai Ziegler and maybe Jamal Mayshak may get to stay at UT. Are you hearing anything with the NCAA and what their rulings are? Because I know they got a lot of stuff that they're going to rule on here coming up.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. And I can't remember the kid's last name. Pierre at Belmont, he's already jumped in the transfer portal. I guess he was their best basketball player this year, transferred from Memphis to Belmont. He's jumped in the transfer portal, and he doesn't have any eligibility left. He's just jumped in there to with the hope that he's going to get a waiver. And so, yeah, they're going to have to rule on this because they haven't been clear cut on what they've done. So this guy gets this guy gets a 6th year, this guy can't get a 5th year, So the only thing I'm hearing is that they got a lot of work to do. I don't know that they're going to come up with any clear cut pattern, but players are testing them. Like the kid at Belmont, he's like, look at Pavia Diego across the street over here at Vanderbilt. He gets another year in football. And so I should be able to get another year in basketball because he played junior college. So, yeah, I don't hear anything. That's the thing you don't ever hear anymore, Kelly, is you used to hear, well, there was a meeting and this is what came out of it. I don't think they're having those kind of meetings anymore because I don't think you can get a quorum together that knows enough about what's going on.
Well, and then can the NCAA survive? Because we just heard yesterday that the guy from Villanova, Chris Jenkins, is suing the NCAA because he wants to get, some retribution for, he didn't go further, so he wants to make money on what he did in college, and now you're starting to see everybody else trying to sue the NCAA. Like, can the NCAA sustain itself over the years? Because we all talk about and we laugh about they never win a court case, and if everybody starts suing them to get back pay, how is that going to work out?
Yeah, I don't think the NCAA survives. And I've been saying this for a long time because of football. I've been saying that the top 40 or top 45 teams will break off and do their own TV deal and make billions. But what I've always said is I don't know what happens to the other teams, the basketball team, the men's and women's basketball teams, the women's tennis teams. I don't know what happens there. I don't know what happens to the conferences. if Alabama, Florida, and LSU and Georgia leave the SEC, I don't know what happens to the SEC. And I don't know what happens to the NCAA. I throw them in that big, huge question mark that I have, that I don't know what happens. I think they're getting such a bad name and bad reputation. I think even if it survives as it is, it's got to rename itself because of the stigma that's coming with it, that it's toothless and it's made so many mistakes, and that it's procrastination to do anything is what led to where we are today. If they would have headed these problems off years ago, instead of taking such a hard line, all these university presidents and a handful of ADs, and just saying, no, this is the way we've always done it, and this is the way we're going to continue to do it. If they would have looked at it and done something years ago, then we may not be where we are today. The Supreme Court probably wouldn't have gotten involved, so we wouldn't be where we are today. But we are, and they're responsible for it. And I think that stigma has tarnished the NCAA, and I don't think it can recover from that.
Mike, with the Masters this week, I got to ask, have you ever covered the Masters?
I have, reluctantly, Billy. I was covering Vanderbilt basketball in 2002. And, George, is that when Jan got fired?
I think it was earlier than that. I think Kevin was here by then.
Okay. Well, I had been through a long football and basketball season, and the basketball season had just ended, and I was ready to take off about 6 weeks. And my sports editor called and said, "Hey, I got good news for you." This is like on a Monday. I said, "What?" And he goes, "You're going to the Masters this week." And I said, "That's not good news." I said, "I don't want to go to the Masters. I don't want to do anything." And he goes, "Oh." And I shocked him. And he said, "Well, you got to go to the Masters." What had happened was back then, to get a media credential, it was coveted. I mean, they were like gold. And the Tennessean actually had two, because we had one that John Bibb had forever, and the banner had closed, and Joe Biddle had come to work for the Tennessean and brought his over. So we actually had two, and we weren't about to give one up. And if you didn't use it, you lost it. So Biddle was going, and I had to go. David Clymer was covering the NCAA somewhere and had something after that. So reluctantly, I said, "Well, I will," in order to keep my job. And I went down on Wednesday and had an absolute blast. Billy, I walked in, Biddle's writing a story, and I hadn't even unpacked my bag, and they come over the speaker and they say, Jack Nicklaus will be in the interview room in 5 minutes. And Biddle looks up at me and says, "Hey, I got to finish this story. Go catch Nicklaus." So I go in, talk to Nicklaus, get back, start unpacking my bag. They say, "Tiger Woods will be in the interview room in 5 minutes." Anyway, this goes on. I interviewing Arnold Palmer, Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Greg Norman, and one other. I can't remember who it was, but all that in a matter of 30 minutes after I had arrived. And it was the year that they had Tiger-proofed the course, because they wanted to make it harder for him to win, and he just breezed right through it. So got to interview him a few times, and got my cell phone taken away from me for talking on it outside the clubhouse, the clubhouse, and had to be with it on it for a day or two. But other than that, had a blast, and wouldn't take anything for it.
Wow, that is really cool.
That's awesome.
Go ahead, Billy.
I was just going to say, I was going to ask, do any of y'all think it's a little ridiculous they don't allow the phones? Or is that?
No.
Okay.
Keep them out, dude.
I did at the time. I did at the time. It was a flip phone. I don't know if, Billy, you even remember flip phones. But
no.
I remember flip phones.
All right. Well, I had a red flip phone, so you couldn't hide it because it was red. So I came out of the clubhouse, and it rings, but I've got the ringer off, obviously. But I take it out of my pocket and open it to see who called. I'm not even talking on it. I just open it, and you had to open it, Billy, to see the screen. So I open it to see who called, and a security guard walks up to me, puts his hand out, and I said, "Are you serious?" And he said, "Yep." And I handed it to him, and I can't remember if they kept it we didn't rely on them like we do today. You could still do your job without one. So I can't remember if they kept it for the duration of the tournament or just that one day, but he sure took it away right then and there.
Wow, that is a great story. Mike, I think what we're going to do when we open the phones today at 4:20, and we're going to open them for whatever people want to talk about, but at the end, I'm going to want each caller to pick the first two coaches that they believe will have a fist fight over one stealing another's players.
And we got to name that fight after Kelly, because Kelly came up with it. So the Holcomb Showdown or something.
Absolutely.
That's how. Hey, I'm emotional like that, man. Like I would hold it personal if somebody did that. So I'm glad I'm out of it totally.
Very classy on your
You
end.
would, and I think you should. If these guys claim to be friends, that crosses the friendship line.
Yeah, let's see how that plays out. Mike, thank you as always. Great stuff.
Always good to be with you guys. Bye-bye.
Mike Organ from the Tennessean joining us. So maybe we need to come up with our own on the front end. During the commercial, do something to make the show better. Who are the first two coaches that we will publicly know got in a fist fight over one stealing another's player in the transfer portal? This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket.
The Predators win!
Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
Here
on ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, I a little creativity today from callers at 4:20 when we get down to business. Kelly, I have a dream.
Tell me.
Well, the dream involves Rick Pitino.
That's where I was going.
Tricky Ricky steals one of Calipari's players, and they have a shootout at the OK Corral at the restaurant that Pitino once closed down for you know what. And John Chaney comes down from heaven and referees the fight,
That's
would
a good
appear
one.
to give Pitino a decided advantage.
That's a good one, George. That's where I was going, though. I was going with Rick Pitino and Calipari. Now I got another one, though.
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna go with the old fella that just lost the national championship, Calvin Sampson, and I'm gonna say Bill Self, because Bill Self might go get one of his players at Kansas, and I can see that happening. I can see them laying it down, because I don't think Bill is a pushover, and I think Coach Sampson is a highly emotional, get after it type of guy, and I don't think he's mellowed any.
And not in a good mood right now.
No, not at all.
The fuse, I think, could be lit very quickly.
Very, very quickly and very easily. Yes.
I like it. So for those of you who are just joining us and wondering what kind of nonsense we're into, and this is a stall for Billy to come up with something, it is my belief that there will come a day in time where we learn that one coach slugged another because of the stealing of a player in the transfer portal. It's likely to happen at the spring meetings, which are never in New Jersey. They're never in Bismarck, North Dakota. They're always down in Florida. Naples, Destin, everybody's wearing shorts. They act all happy when Feinbaum interviews them. They act like they're great friends, but suddenly things go haywire. Billy, what's your dream?
Is this just basketball, by the way?
It doesn't have to be.
Okay. Okay, I've got a good basketball one. Rick Barnes against Buzz Williams. Because last year during a game in College Station, Buzz Williams ran onto the floor to call a timeout. And a couple of days later, Barnes was speaking to the media. He said, hey, he was telling his players, and Tony told us this, if he runs onto the floor and you're running down the floor, just deck him. And
that's right. I remember that.
Just keep running and run over him.
That's a good one.
So I could see that one. Put that one somewhere in Texas. Barnes used to coach at Texas. Buzz used to be at A&M. So I think there's definitely some hatred there between those two. But I was thinking only basketball. There's got to be some good football.
Oh, there's some very.
I would have loved to have seen Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, that is an excellent one.
Hey, who was the?
That's a good one.
Illinois' head coach right now, Brett Bielema, in the bowl game against was it Shane Beamer?
Oh, that's right.
Bielema versus Beamer.
Oh my God, we're stealing great stuff for people.
By the way, Jane on YouTube, Don Staley versus Kim.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
There's probably some hatred there too.
Yeah, but what about the other one?
We should have thought of Danny Hurley and Rick Pitino too.
I would say it would be Danny Hurley versus the
entire country.
Well, or the College Referee Association.
Yeah,
true. Danny Hurley versus whoever.
Effing coach in this.
Hey, Tony Vitello and Tim Corbin.
Well, now wait a minute.
There's a big age difference there, though.
Do you know that to be true, or are you just trying to stir
I wouldn't
up?
be. I've heard that Tony Vitello, he's got a, and this probably happens. Any player that commits to Vandy, he sends scouts to that player's games and tries to talk to him and tries to get him to commit to Tennessee, flip to Tennessee. That's what I've heard.
No,
have you
heard that?
Informed sources or?
Yeah, I mean, he tracks Vandy commits and he'll send his scouts out to their games.
Billy, your sources sometimes are questionable, and you'll
Yeah,
throw
I think
things
this
out
is-
there sometime that's not fact based.
Hey,
You
And
know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
this is why Tony hasn't hired you yet, because he knows that you put out a bunch of crap like this.
It's false advertising. Billy does. That's what he does.
Okay, so you all can kind of tell what we're going to do. And at 4:20, first of all, I want you to call for whatever you want to call for. But at the end, I want you to give me the two coaches that you believe will get in the first public fist fight over one coach stealing another's player in the transfer portal. This is going to be fun.
And you know what we ought to do, George? We ought to do this too. They don't like you could go back and you could think about Johnny Majors and who he could go after, or
Oh my God.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like some older guys,
Dean Smith
Vince
and
Dooley, all
No,
these guys.
Dean Smith and Rick Barnes
Yeah.
would have been a great one at the commissioner's
Yeah.
home that evening. Instead, they had cocktails, which seemed to kind of quiet things down a little bit. Okay, we're going to have some fun with it back at the station at 4:20. I expect to hear the Rocky theme music. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Hey guys, Big Joe here from my friends at Busy Bee. April is already here. Can you believe it? And that means big savings for you. And if you need to clear out dust and pet dander and allergens before spring kicks in, Busy Bee has you covered. Listen, AC tune-up only $99 and an indoor air check only $69. And there is so much more. All you have to do, go online to busybeehvac.com. That is busybeehvac.com.
Previously on Clinton and Friends.
Walrus. Hello, sir.
I wrote a rhyme about the show. Let me tell you all about a new show. It's on in the morning with the sun aglow. I'm talking about the trio, Yates, Kane, and Steele. They converse on the radio, keeping it real. It's a great way to start your day. Just turn the dial to hear what they say. And that's my story about Clinton and Friends, where the trip to the watering hole never ends.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Mike in Texas, my friend. Big Mike, what you got?
Well, man, Freddie, first of all, my wife just went back in the house and called you my side piece because I've been listening to you for so long.
My side piece.
3 times, and every time I'm listening to you try to get on the phone, and I'm looking at him like, what? I'm home.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network, ESPN 94.9, The Fan, a Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Coming up, we're talking with Jeff M. from the Nashville Sounds. But first, stat of the day. Even before stat of the day, though, got an announcement.
Do we?
Dick Gabriel, good friend of the show. He has been inducted into the 2025 Kentucky Journalism Hall of Fame.
Beautiful. Congratulations. Good for him.
Well deserved.
No kidding.
I would guess, I wonder if Tennessee has a radio Hall of Fame. I would guess this is the same or similar thing to that.
I don't know. There are not a ton of states that have a radio Hall of Fame. Georgia had one that we sort of kind of replicated,
Kentucky,
around theirs.
You would think probably loops everything,
maybe.
All journalism in there. So
maybe.
Congrats to Dick Gabriel, 40 years.
Awesome.
Long time as a reporter there.
That is wonderful.
With the Cats. Okay, stat of the day, again, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going to NBA today. The last 6 NBA finals have produced 6 different championship-winning coaches. Out of those 6, how many of them are no longer with the team they won the championship with? This is
the guy. The guy at Denver is no longer there.
No, he certainly is not. Coach Malone.
Gone.
He be gone.
Yeah, he be out.
Boston, when but they didn't win it with Udoka or whatever, the guy that ended up in Houston.
No,
the guy that won it at Boston's still there, though. Correct?
Yeah.
He's still there. So we know Denver. Has Golden State won in the last 6 years?
Yes.
Okay, Kerr's still there.
He's still there.
Let's think here. In the East, Miami with Spoelstra is still there.
But he didn't. Did they win it?
They have not won.
know.
They have not won one in the last.
Okay. In COVID, didn't the Lakers win it?
They did.
They did.
He's
Yes,
not there any longer.
He's not there anymore. Yes.
Nope.
So that's 2.
But the problem is, suddenly I can't think of who that was.
Gosh,
With the
who
Lakers.
was that?
That's terrible.
Yeah, but he's not there.
Let's go with those 2.
2.
Okay.
2.
Well, it's 4.
4. Well, whatever. 2 times 2 is 4.
Ty Lue.
Ty Lue.
That's right. Yeah.
In 2016.
Cleveland. Yeah.
You had the Raptors 2019. Who is
Nick
that?
Nurse.
Nick Nurse. That's
Nick
right.
Nurse.
2020, the Lakers. Oh, that's who was the Pacers coach, Frank Vogel.
Yes, the old Pacers. Yeah, Vogel. Yeah, that's
Good
it.
Lord.
Yeah. And then, of course, 2023, the Nuggets, and then 2021, the Bucks. What is his name?
The Bucks coach was Mike Budenholzer.
Budenholzer, yep.
Who's about to get fired in Phoenix.
Man, they turn through coaches like it's nothing.
Wow. Okay, are we now officially into the 4 o'clock hour?
We are.
By the way, we get some level of credit. We got half of it.
Yeah, that wasn't as
right.
bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay, so let's head out to First Horizon Park and say hello to the fine play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds. He is Jeff Him. Yeah, we'll all do that. Be careful, though, because when Kelly does that, he might slug you.
Yeah, don't bring Kelly to the booth, Jeff.
Yeah.
No, I would never want to get into a fist fight with Kelly Holcomb. I know how that would turn out for me. Hello, guys.
Hello there. What
No.
year? What year is this for you here?
I was going to say this is 2025, but that'd be a smart aleck answer, and I wouldn't do that.
He needs that though, Jeff.
Sure
He
you
needs a
would.
smart aleck answer.
Okay, for me, let's see. 2012 was my first year with the Sounds, so with no season in 2020, I don't know if you're counting years or seasons.
Let's go years.
12 or 13, something like that.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Man.
It goes fast. I can tell you, I cannot believe that this is the 10th season of First Horizon Park. We blinked, and George, you were at that frigid, groundbreaking February of 2014. I still feel like I'm warming up from that day, but we blinked, and here we are, 10 seasons now, First Horizon Park. It's pretty amazing.
It's still a beautiful park. So, Kelly, guess where
Yes,
we're
sir.
going first?
Where? You going to ask him?
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask him a question.
Yeah, I know, but
Do you know what?
If it's
No, probably
baseball,
not.
Kelly, if it's baseball and George Plaster, what topic is he going to first?
He's going to the Braves at some point.
But how would I weave that into the Sounds?
With Gwinnett or something. I don't know.
Okay. And that is exactly
Kelly's on
where
it.
I'm going. Because last week, Jeff Him was in Gwinnett for a series between the Gwinnett Braves and the Sounds, and just happened to see Spencer Strider pitch a rehab assignment where it appeared, based on the numbers, that he was lights out. But you saw him. Tell us what you saw.
He was lights out. I mean, he was lights out. His fastball velocity is right, or just a hair under his average from a couple years ago when he was fully healthy, which tells you that he's close. He threw exactly 75 pitches. In fact, he came out in the middle of an at-bat. We were told before the game, hey, it'll probably be about 75 pitches for Strider. He threw the 75th pitch, and I want to say the count was 1-2 on the Sounds hitter, and they took him out right then and there. They were steadfast in that 75 pitch limit, but he looked good. His battery mate was Sean Murphy, and a couple days later we saw Ryan Verdugo in the lineup there in Gwinnett for the Braves after he signed late in the spring. So three very important pieces to the Braves were in and around Gwinnett last week for them, facing the Sounds. The headliner, of course, being Strider. He looked great. I think he's going to go again for them tomorrow then, and that would be about 90 pitches. And then if you get to that number, I'm not saying for sure, like I'm not on the Braves medical team, but when somebody gets to 90 pitches as part of a rehab assignment and everything feels okay in the days after that, that is typically a good sign that they're ready. So he's got to be close based on what I saw and where he's at with his pitch counts.
Okay, I'll get to the Sounds in a second. There are two more that you may have seen, may not have seen. Craig Kimbrell and Nashvillian James McCann. Either one of them?
No, did not see either one of those. It sounded like from some of the folks with the Stripers that those guys were going to be coming. And I want to say McCann played for them last night. They are now in Norfolk playing the Tides. And I want to say I saw a highlight related to McCann from their game last night. Kimbrell, I don't know where that stands as far as when he's going to get on a mound or if he's going to get on a mound at the minor league level or if he'll just be activated when he's available. I mean, the Brewers on Friday are expected to activate Jose Quintana. Similar situation, veteran player, signed late in the spring. Friday is the first day he's eligible, and we had thought at one point he might pitch for the Sounds and that he was open to using a minor league option if needed to go down to the minor leagues, and he's been either with them or out in Arizona at their spring complex. So my point being, it's not a lock that Kimbrell goes to Gwinnett, but it certainly would seem possible. Teams typically, even if it's not an official rehab assignment, they want these guys to face the best competition level possible before they activate them at the big league level. That's AAA, and that's why 99 times out of 100, when the Brewers have a rehab assignment player, he comes to the Sounds, even if geographically they could send that guy to Appleton, Wisconsin, just down the road from Milwaukee.
The Sounds, by the way, are home right now. This evening, game 2 of a 6-game homestand against Memphis, 6:35 now through Saturday, a Sunday game at 2:05. So I had the chance with the extra innings package to flip on a Milwaukee game where Chad Patrick, who we had on the show a year ago, pitched very well, got into the 5th inning with a shutout. What's the progress report you can give us on him?
He's been terrific for them, and man, have they needed him. We saw Tobias Myers pitch here last night on rehab for the Brewers. It sounds like somewhere in the next several days we could see Brandon Woodruff. They are without Robert Gasser. They're without DL Hall. They are without Aaron Ashby. Now they're without Aaron Savali. I mean, it's a rotation and a half worth of really good starting pitching that the Brewers don't have. And so Chad Patrick was all set to leave spring training and pack up his car. He was going to go to Indiana, pack up his car, and drive down here to start the season here. And on literally the last day of spring training, he found out he was making that Brewers team. And he's had 2 starts now, and he's been terrific. He just got his first big league win for them back on Sunday. So in this game and in professional sports in general, we always say, hey, make the most of an opportunity when you get it. It's really cliche to drop that all the time. But, man, when you're talking about AAA guys trying to get a shot in the big leagues, you have to make the most of those opportunities. And Chad Patrick is showing that he can hang in the big leagues right now. It's really cool to see. I'm glad you guys got to have him on last year. He's a character, man. He's got a great sense of humor. He's kind of aloof at times. But what I always remind people of is he is a very intelligent pitcher. And Sounds pitching coaches would tell me time and again last year that, like, if it's not his night to pitch, he is watching the game. He is he is noticing things that he's going to use in his outing. Because he comes off sometimes as this guy who's just kind of along for the ride, having fun, always ready for a joke. And we poke fun about the hot dog roller that was in the clubhouse last year, and he was always making hot dogs for everybody. But, man, when it's game time, he is not afraid. You can never predict what a guy is going to do at the big league level. But when I found out he was going to get a shot up there, one thing I knew for sure is that he would not be afraid. He would not pitch scared. He would not be overwhelmed by the enormity of a major league debut and try to, run with an opportunity. He just pitches. His cutter is elite. And it's just really cool to see a guy that we got to see so much and get to know so well down here doing the most with an opportunity. And from my perspective, when you're following a AAA team every day, those stories never get old. The call-ups and the first this, the first that, the first extended run, the first win, seeing the families in the stands and the joy they have when a guy debuts, that stuff just never gets old.
I hate to butt in here, but you talking about Chad Patrick and his call-up right before the season, you said, that made me think, okay, the timing of when these guys are called up has to play a role, some sort of a role in their success. If you get called up late in the season and your team's not going to the playoffs, that could be kind of a down. I mean, you're in the big leagues, right? It's going to be cool either way. But for Patrick, right before the season, opening day is always, exciting for every player. That's got to light a little bit of a fire under him. He's got a whole season to potentially prove himself, as opposed to maybe, halfway through the season or late in the season. I mean, that's got to be different. But depending on the timing of these call-ups, that definitely matters.
It's a great point, and the circumstance does matter, and I'm sure would play a role in how guys do, or at least how they feel they're going to do. Some guys, it's, hey, they need you right now. You're a reliever. You're probably going to get in the game that night. That's how shorthanded they are. Other guys, it's, hey, you're going to. Sometimes they know several days. They get up there. If they're a starting pitcher, they can prepare a little bit. In Patrick's case, the Brewers opened at Yankee Stadium, and they had such thin pitching that Chad's major league debut was out of the bullpen, and he gave up a home run at Yankee Stadium to one of his first couple batters. So on the one hand, it's like, oh, his debut didn't go so great. but he's used to being a starter. And I don't know if he knew he was going to get a start several days later, but he's gotten 2 now. And relief outing and the debut and the road outing and all the nerves, like it's almost like I wonder if he feels like he got that out of the way, that like, hey, yes, it's still his major league debut. He didn't want to give up a home run, but he settled in, he got a couple strikeouts, and it's like, okay, now I'm back to starting. Now I feel this feels normal. And he was up there for a few days to get acclimated and also pitch in a setting where the pressure for him was probably immense, but the pressure for him to perform was a little bit different than a start. So you're right. The circumstance matters. And sometimes it's to the player's benefit. And sometimes it's, hey, tough, hang with them. We need you right now. Get in there. And sometimes you don't know, am I going to be up here tomorrow? Or am I getting sent back right after the game? Because pitchers and players don't want to presume, oh, it's okay if I don't do great tonight because I'll be here for a couple weeks. They don't look at it that way. And I know Chad Patrick's intensity. I can think of a couple words he would probably be thinking after that debut at Yankee Stadium, being the competitor that he is. But thankfully, he's gotten a chance to show in a more regular role what he can do. And that's where he's really making the most of it.
Okay, Kelly, a year ago when we would have Jeff on, you asked some incredibly interesting questions. Can't wait to hear where we're going.
I don't know if this is going to be too incredibly incredible with this, but I'm looking at the roster, and obviously I didn't memorize the roster last year, but how much turnover did you have? Because I'm looking at some names, and I'm sure you've got some names from last year, but like I'm looking at all the names, and I don't see some of the guys that I normally used to see each and every time I put it on there. So how much turnover did the Sounds have?
Yeah, it's at the AAA level, I would say on average, you start the season with about half the guys who've been there at least a little bit the year prior. And on average, about half are new from outside the organization, minor league free agents, guys from a trade, something like that. Or they're just new because they're moved up from AA where they ended last year. So on average, it's about 50-50. This year, among the returners, most of them are younger guys who weren't here a ton last year. So it's a fairly young and fairly hungry group, which I think is what you want on average. Like if you could pick at AAA, you're always going to have a mix of some veterans, but like the Gwinnett team that we're talking about, the Braves have that roster built at AAA with like a dozen guys who are in their mid 30s. This Memphis team, the Sounds are playing this week, only has, I think, 2 guys who are 30 years and older. So they're a pretty young team. And the Sounds are pretty young, too. So it's mostly homegrown. It's mostly guys who haven't been to the big leagues yet, or they've been there only briefly, and or they're coming up through the Brewers system. So I think the dynamic is something that manager Rick Sweet likes based on how the roster is built and who is on it. Because it's a little bit of roll of the dice sometimes when you bring too many guys in from outside the organization. You want them to kind of buy into the organization. You want them to buy into the team a little bit. Everybody's trying to get to the big leagues, but you want the right mix of veterans if they're going to be from the outside. And I think the Sounds have that based on the kind of the vibe and personality of this team. So that's what the average, I think, would tell you as far as how many guys are back from a previous year, especially here in April. It'll be amazing if you ask me that question, what's the roster look like when we talk in August? You might have very few names who are still here. It's just the way it works. We've had transactions in the last couple of days. It's always evolving, but I think the right foundation at AAA is to have as many homegrown guys and as many younger players as you can. But the situation of the big league club dictates that a little bit too. The Brewers are also a contending team again this year and expecting to contend. So if you have too much youth and inexperience at AAA and you're trying to call a guy up to help your big league club, up there, they want to bank on the fact that a guy going up can help them and not need too much of that this is all new perspective. So you got to find that balance at AAA. And I think right now the Sounds have a pretty good mix of that.
So with Milwaukee, like you said, they went to the playoffs last year, but they got beat, I think, in the first round. But like, how is their with this AAA squad? How is their farm system? I mean, are they Are they trending up with that? I mean, are they getting better? And they obviously want to make it further in the playoffs. Obviously, they want to win a World Series at some point.
Yeah.
But like, how healthy is their farm system?
I would say it's very healthy. Now, again, like I said at the very beginning, talking about Chad Patrick, they're dealing with a lot of injuries at the big league level, which has a trickle down effect to at least the AAA level. So, literal health wise, they would like to be healthier, but depth wise of the organization, the Brewers are one of the better teams in Major League Baseball with their scouting and their identifying of player talent and the right mix. They're also really good at bringing guys in from the outside. I mean, 2 years ago, the guy I mentioned earlier who rehabbed here last night, Tobias Myers, he was a sound early in the year last year. And by about June 1st, he was in the big leagues the rest of the year. And he started one of those playoff games you're referring to. He started for the Brewers Game 3 against the Mets and had 5 scoreless innings. That was a guy that was not drafted by the Brewers. He's relatively young, but they went out and got him 2 years ago after he had not had much statistical success at the AAA level in years prior. But they identified a couple things that they think, okay, once we get him here, our people are good at this or that, and we can tweak a couple things with this guy, and we feel like we can unlock something. And that's exactly what they've done with Tobias Myers. So the Brewers as a whole, whether they've drafted somebody and they scouted that person in high school or college, or they've watched the player in pro ball for a few years and have scouted something, they're really good at identifying talent. And they would tell you that they need to be able to do that because they don't have the seemingly unlimited resources of the Yankees and the Dodgers to just go pay for the big free agent. They have to develop guys who are playing for the Sounds and guys who are draft eligible because it helps them financially when those guys are early in their career versus signing somebody to some 9-figure deal. They just don't do it.
So I know it's early in the season, but how do you like this team, Jeff? Do you like the team?
I do. Like I said, I think it's got a good mix of younger guys and the right type of player if they're coming in from the outside. The offense struggled the first week or so, but like it's one of those big differences. I would imagine, Kelly, baseball to football or even basketball. I mean, these guys play 150 games. They've played 9 of 150. So anyone who's going to go looking at numbers, it's the old grain of salt. It's the small sample size. So it's hard to tell too much this early. Whereas, when you've played 9 games in a football season, guys have been fired by now if they haven't. So it's a different deal in baseball. It just is. And that's one of the separators. So tough to tell, but I do like this team. And I do think there's more coming from some guys getting healthy up above. That's going to have a trickle down effect to make the Sounds even better. And B, there's a lot of young talent at the AA level that maybe by June, July is pushing to get up here. And that's the best case if you're the Brewers or any one of these big league teams. You want your guys in the minor leagues to force your hand by playing so well that they're like, we can't do anything but call this guy up because he's playing so well. We have to give him a shot. The more of those you get, like a Chad Patrick and how he performed last year, the better off you're going to be at the big league level.
Jeff, the park has really evolved over the last several years, and I feel like there's a new addition every year. We know about the party deck down the left field line, and obviously the bandbox, but even the apartments feels like have filled out. Tell us about the additions to the park and at least some of the ones that have been completed and everything the park has to offer this season.
Yeah, it's funny, on opening day there was, and we've got one photo that's in the lobby of the ballpark here that was taken on opening day of 2015. And you look out beyond left field and there's really nothing that connects the end of left field to downtown. And now I can't even see the Titans Stadium anymore. I can barely see Municipal Auditorium because there's so much literally right around us. And that was Mayor Dean's vision at the time. And George, I know you know that well. He thought ballpark in Germantown and things will get built around it. And that's exactly what has happened. So the development that's going on has been incredible. The amount of people who can go out their door and less than a block away, walk to the ballpark and attend a game on a beautiful night just keeps growing. And that is really helpful and just a great thing. I love that we consider this a downtown ballpark, but I also love that it feels part of its own neighborhood here in Germantown. But then when I look around and think 2015 to now, the mini golf got added after opening day. The Hit City Hall group outing area that's climate controlled that I'm looking at over on the first base side is new within the last couple of years. Third and Home opening a few years ago, a bar that overlooks the ballpark, being new, relatively speaking, in the last few years. We still do Friday fireworks and we still have Throwback Thursdays and a lot of those, those standby promotions that are successful. But every year there's something new as well. Giveaway items, promotions, something in game that we're trying to see how fans respond to it. Different ticket opportunities, different benefits for our season ticket members. I mean, our front office does a great job of constantly self-evaluating and also looking for fan feedback to try to figure out what can we keep making better. Because 10 years in, you can't just keep copying and pasting year to year and expecting the same result. And so to draw the way this place does 10 years in speaks to leadership, it speaks to ownership, and it speaks to the front office staff never feeling like content of like, well, let's just do what we did last year. Sometimes you need to do that, and sometimes it's smart to do that. Other times it's all right. How can we change this to make it better? So group areas, pricing within group areas, food items, sometimes it's little things that you wouldn't just notice when you walk in and it sticks out like a sore thumb, but there's constant self-evaluation of the product here. And I think that is a large part of the success of this ballpark.
That last statement he just said is so true about them. They do a great job, way better than most minor league teams, way better. I'll leave it at that. Jeff, thank you as always. You're a good man.
Appreciate you guys. Talk soon.
See you, brother.
See you tonight. Okay. We're going to go to the break. And then I want red-blooded Americans who love talking sports, who have a sense of humor, who can get a little creative. Here's what I want to throw out here. I believe there will be a day and time soon where we find out that two coaches, head coaches, opposing schools, got in a fist fight somewhere over one stealing the other's player in the transfer portal. It's just a matter of time. I want you to think about who those two coaches are, or two coaches on the college level in the past who you would have loved to have seen duke it out. 615-553-0933. That's our number. 615-553-0933. We better get some phone calls on this, and hopefully also some text stuff. How do we do that, Billy?
Chat room on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. That's how you can find us. YouTube is just to the right of the screen. If you're watching on a laptop, you can also watch on your phone and just swipe up and fire away your comments.
This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Express.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we're almost set. The question being, it is just a matter of time before two coaches that we find out publicly have gotten in a little fist fight, arguing over the fact that one coach stole another coach's player in the transfer portal. And so I've asked you all out there to give me two coaches in whatever sport on the college level that you think have a chance to be the first to duke it out. I left out one that is obvious. Bruce Pearl, John Calipari.
I was going to say that.
They hate each other. Why do I know they hate each other? Because in January of 2008, at Memorial Gym, Bruce Pearl himself told me that.
George, imagine this one. Woody Hayes.
Oh, my God.
And Bo Schembechler. Can you imagine them two dudes stealing somebody off each other's team? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine when they play, seeing each other at the 50-yard line? Can you imagine the altercation that they would have?
That is A++. Billy, do you know who Woody Hayes slugged that ended his career?
Bo Schembechler?
No. Woody Hayes punched a Clemson University player named Charlie Bauman. Why has that one stuck? I don't know, but it has. I happened to see it And I remember when he threw the punch, I was like, he ain't going to be here much longer. And he was. They fired him the next day. Okay, let's take some phone calls. 615-553-0933. Looking for a little humor, a little creativity. Tony in Nolensville, get us started.
Oh, George, Billy, Kelly, always good to be the lead off. A lot of times I am, sometimes I'm not, and that's okay. Billy, I could have really helped you with your substance today, with your opening of your updates. Just it could have gone from a C to an A minus if you had just included the fact that Sonny Gray, Rutherford County, Kelly, they announced yesterday the naming of the baseball field at Smyrna in honor of Sonny Gray.
Oh,
and what a tremendous honor for Sonny Gray. Won 2 or 3 state titles down there for the Smyrna Bulldogs. And he deservedly so is having the baseball named after him. Of course, everybody knows he's a former Vandy Boys. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. I could have bumped that up from a C plus to an A minus.
Thanks.
I agree.
Feel that way, but maybe Kelly does. I don't know.
Maybe you need to get on here earlier, Tony, and help him.
I might need to get his number, Kelly, and start talking to him.
You do. You need to start texting stuff to him, Tony.
Might have to help him out. George, is it time for Chief Nakahoma to be brought back?
The good Chief, I don't believe, is with us any longer.
Right.
However, I am told that Braves players pulled some real stunts on him, a couple of which I cannot share on these airwaves. Kelly, as you know, in old Fulton County, the TP was down the left field line.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say that players visited the TP a couple of times before the Chief did in certain games.
Oh, really?
Yes. Shall we say they made deposits? Let's go to David on line 2. David, you are on 94.9, and we thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon, fellas.
Same here.
I would absolutely, I'm a diehard Vanderbilt guy, but I would love to go back just a few short years and see Bruce Pearl and Kevin Stallings go at it.
Oh, man, that'd be great.
And I could even go in, I mean, we go back a little bit further. I'd love to see Eddie Fogler and Bruce Pearl go at it. Any Vanderbilt coach against any Tennessee or Kentucky coach would be a dream fight for me. And we all know Kevin Stallings knows how to slap that ball away from guys. We almost saw him take out Joakim Noah one time. So if I could pick a coach and a player, I'd love to see Noah and Stallings get to finish that fight.
I'll say this. You're probably on to one piece of it. They were not close.
No, not at all.
I can't go any farther than that, although I know some things, but I don't think I can share them.
Fair enough, George. Well, it's good talking to you.
Thanks for calling. Okay, Billy, I know you've got a couple by way of text.
Yeah, Jerry on Facebook says Dale Brown and Win Sanderson.
Okay,
I like it.
But here's the thing. It's actually more at one point Dale Brown and C.M. Newton. And here's the deal. When Dale Brown was about to win his first SEC title at LSU, they were at home in Baton Rouge in the Maravich Center, and they were playing C.M. Newton's Alabama team. And apparently they called a timeout with like 10 seconds left. And the band started dun, 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 dun. They started having streamers come down. And I know for a fact that Coach Newton was not thrilled and made that clear to me at one point. So, I mean, I can't see Coach Newton in a fight. Pearl and Kevin, now that might have been a different deal.
Yeah.
Here's one that got sent to me that I think is humorous. Stu Aberdeen, the longtime University of Tennessee assistant under Ray Mears and Ron Bargatze. And yet I think Coach B, who will join us tomorrow, will say, no, it's never like that at all.
We have Tony back, by the way.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay. He dropped on us. Tony, tell me what's going on.
Man, I don't know what happened, George. There's so much construction going on out here in Nolensville. You never know when something might get knocked off or whatnot. But I was fixing to go into these matchups. And y'all keep going back on some older guys, older things, and I was staying current.
Okay.
But one of the older matchups I would have loved to seen is, of course, remember when the Catholics versus convicts?
Oh, my
I'd love
God.
to see Lou Holtz go against Jimmy Davis. Wasn't it?
That'd have been a good one.
Oh, that is
That
a
would have been a good
terrific one. That's an A+.
Thank you. And then on the more
Tony, hold on a second. Apparently joining us by phone is Coach Holtz, who joins us to talk about how it would have turned out.
Son, I didn't like going down to that place anyway, and if me and Jimmy Johnson were out there, I'd whip his rear end.
Thank you.
That's classic.
That's not bad.
Guys, on the basketball court, I'll throw this one out there. I'd love to see Danny Hurley go against Nate Oates.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I would love to see Danny Hurley or Nate Oates go steal one of Danny Hurley's players.
See, I think with Danny Hurley, I think there's a fairly long list. I don't think we have to just necessarily make it one.
And a lot of people don't know it, but I think I would also like to see, and I know we're supposed to have been one. I agree. I could get Billy Busby, or give me the X, But Shane Beamer, either or against Heidful or Dabo Sweeney. I think that could get real ugly between those in a rock fight too. So
Dabo.
Guys,
but we have better stuff there.
Have a little humor. Say that again, George.
We got better stuff though. It's just simply Shane Beamer and Bielema.
Oh, I love that one. And who knows what a injury timeout's worth.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for the call, Tony.
Yes, sir. Kelly, let me ask you this one real quick. Am I still on? Y'all still got me?
Yeah.
Kelly, what do you think about Boots going against Roy Kidd? I'll leave it on that one.
Hey, that's a good one, Tony, right there. They were good friends, but I think, there was a bitter rivalry there, and Roy got the best of us quite a few times. So I can see them going at it at the 50-yard line, no question.
Here's one that oh my God, there are a couple here that I got to get into in a minute. Okay. So hold on to that one, Billy. We'll go to the break first, and then we'll tell you about Stormin' Norman Sloan when we come back. If you want to get in with coaches that might slug each other in the transfer portal world, 615-553-0933. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Norm Sloan got brought up moments ago as we were discussing coaches who you think could duke it out with other coaches if somebody stole their player in the transfer portal. Billy, if you will, put that text back up there. The text says, Norm Sloan and Bill Foster, the Duke Foster and not the Clemson Foster, almost got into a real scuffle one night. Well, Norm Sloan, who won a national title at NC State, then went back to Florida in the early 80s. And as a color announcer at Billy's age, one of my jobs was to get an interview with the opposing coach. And most of the coaches, Richard Williams at Mississippi State was one who could not have been more gracious. Norm Sloan told me in no uncertain terms where I could stick the microphone. Thus, we never got a pregame interview with Storm and Norman. Here are a couple real quickly, and then we'll go back and talk to you all. The truth of it is Bobby Knight and Lou Henson in the old days. Lou Henson with the bad hairdo at Illinois. Yeah. But here's the one I would have wanted to see more. Bobby Knight, Gene Cady.
Oh,
Indiana, Purdue.
That's a good one right there. That's a good one. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, Eric is next. Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, George. I just thought to call in. I think one instance we had to
Florida back in the days when they were coaching, you could have said either Philip Fulmer or Johnny Majors against Steve Spurrier.
You know what was weird about that, though, was that Fulmer's wife and Spurrier's wife supposedly were really good friends.
Yeah.
Which I
But
never could figure. You know, you would think at one point one of the wives would have said, quit taking shots at my husband. But apparently they got...
Yeah, because you don't have the most famous line. You couldn't spell the Citrus Bowl without the U and the T. Oh, man.
And Spurrier, didn't he get into it with Ray Goff at Georgia? Wasn't there something there?
I think you're right. Yeah, I believe that did happen.
You know, you had to love Spurrier because that was at a day and time where they were all, they all had a case of the tight, you know what, and Spurrier just didn't give a damn.
Yeah, and I'm sure back in the day, probably, I guess, I don't know if they were ever friends with Barry Switzer at Oklahoma, and I'm drawing the blank on the coach at Nebraska, or you could say Oklahoma and Texas, some of those rivalries and stuff like that. They were coaching.
Could have been Osborne.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, Tom Osborne. And also, you know, when Oklahoma played Texas and some of those rivalries, I mean, it's just hilarious when you think about coaches back in the day and a lot of the rivalries that happened back in the day. But those are just some I thought I'd throw out. George, it's always good to talk to you. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Eric, thank you. So here's one that I suspect. Okay, Urban Meyer against all college coaches.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Barry Switzer and Tom Osborne, like, you know, Tom doesn't, he's not a fighter, but you know, Barry Switzer was. And if Tom took one of his players, I can see that happening.
By the way, through the old grapevine, the director has heard that one of the big pushes for Eddie George at Bowling Green was former Bowling Green head football coach Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
As opposed to him coming back a second time, which would have been urban renewal.
Another one.
What's wrong with you?
Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
It all started when they were both in college, USC and Stanford. And there's actually, after one of the games.
Yes.
Was it Harbaugh or Carroll that went up and said, "What's your deal?" And after a game, I think Stanford beat USC 55-21. And apparently Harbaugh ended up going for another score to tack on another touchdown late. So that'd be an interesting one.
Pac-12 after dark.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I believe we're just around the corner from it. I had a Vanderbilt fan tell me that what Byington ought to do is, you know, with unlimited funds, just take about $2.5 million and go get Meshack and Ziegler, and then just say to Barnes, "You ever touch one of my players again, this is what's going to happen." You know, deep down, even though they all say the right thing,
yeah, it's aggravating
that privately the coaches are absolutely going at each other's throats.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, they all say the right things, which we say the right things. When I was in front of a camera, I said the right things, but you know what they're thinking. Like, there's just like the kid leaving Belmont that Mike was talking about. He's a good player too, but he's graduated. And is he going to get another year in the transfer? I don't know, but like, that's just like the Will Richard kid that went to Florida, and he was he was big in that game the other night, but like, that's got to be frustrating. I know that we all say, hey, we're at a smaller school and we know where this stuff is going and we know what's happening and we know they're coming in and getting our players, but that's got to be frustrating. That's got to be saying, like, why am I still doing this? I think I know everybody's going to get used to it. I know it's going to become normal, but like, I just don't know if I could do it, George. I really would. Like, me being emotional as I am sometimes, I would really seriously want to fight somebody. If you took one of my kids,
Yeah.
I would really want to fight you. And I'm not gonna pull any beef about it. I'm just gonna tell you, like, don't do that again, or we're gonna have problems.
Which is why I think we're headed towards something like that at the spring meetings, which are never held in Bismarck, never held in New Jersey. Let me think. Never held in Providence, always in warm weather.
Well, wasn't it either one of the SWAC coaches, whether it was Grambling or Alabama State, didn't one of their coaches come out and say that they should be compensated for losing players to a bigger school?
Well, I do wonder whether that ultimately,
because I don't hate that idea.
I don't hate it either. I'll be honest with you.
Next time we have Lee Fowler on, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I know we got to go to the break. I know all of you breathlessly await Plaster Bet of the Day, which revolves around Luka Duka and his return tonight to Big D. This is 94.9 The Fan.
One deep near sideline, he's got it! It's a touchdown pass!
Hey, what's going on, Vandy fans? This is Andrew Allegretta, voice of the Commodores. Your home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan. You can catch every football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball game right here. Plus, don't forget about the Commodore Hour every Monday night at 6 p.m. Anchor down and go Doors.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Race fans, get ready. Nashville's NASCAR night races coming your way. 3 nights, 3 action-packed races. May 30th through June 1st, the stars of NASCAR battle under the lights at Nashville Super Speedway. It all starts Friday with the Rackley Roofing 200 Craftsman Truck Series, followed by the Tennessee Lottery 250 Xfinity Series Showdown on Saturday. And then Sunday night, it's the NASCAR Cup Series under the primetime lights. Don't miss your shot to witness NASCAR history in Music City and rub shoulders with all the Nashville stars. Get tickets now at NashvilleSuperspeedway.com.
At Electronic Express, we've got the largest selection of TVs and unbeatable deals. Right now, get a Roku 75-inch smart TV for only $499, or a Sharp 55-inch smart TV for just $269. Plus, buy 2 or more qualifying Samsung appliances and get a free 65-inch Samsung smart TV. Free delivery, expert service, and up to 36 months free financing? We've got that too. Don't miss out. Shop in-store or electronicexpress.com today.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a Wednesday. Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We take a look at what happened last night. The Padres did not come through.
Their pitch stinks. Or at least it did last night. So the record is now 63, 70, and 4. The 4 being ties. So tonight, we have the return of Luka Doncic, Luka Duka back to Big D, in perhaps the dumbest trade in the history of dumb trades. What the GM in Dallas was thinking when he let go a generational talent. If any of you watch tonight, I think TNT's got the game at 6:30. Watch the crowd reaction, because I think it's going to be very positive toward old Luka Duka.
Anytime Luka scores, they're going to erupt.
And the GM in Dallas, not so much so. I got a feeling old Luka Duka goes off tonight for about 40. You know he's fired up. If you've ever watched
have they said why that GM did that, George? Like, why did he do that? Like, did he have a personal problem with Luka Doncic?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard all the stuff about, he was out of shape and all that stuff. All I know is when he led them to the NBA championship series a year ago. He looked pretty damn good to me.
I sure did.
So I don't
He
get
did.
it. I don't get it. Tomorrow, really good show. Danny Evans in the 4 o'clock hour, college basketball insiders at 3:20. Hope you'll join us. See you tomorrow on 94.9 The Fan.